All right, welcome back. And of course, the United States presidential elections is our focus this morning. The candidates, Democrats Kamala Harris and Republican Donald Trump, of course, needing to get to at least 270 Electoral College votes to win this race to the White House.
I mean, this next president will have to deal with both domestic and foreign affairs that continue to divide the country, including the role in its Israel war in Gaza, Russia, Ukraine. You heard our reporter in Kiev. Ukrainians very worried if it is a Trump win and funding will stop there, as well as domestic racial and immigration tensions. And to talk more about this, we've got our panel that are assembled for us, and we'll continue to discuss it. We've got Sophie Mokoena, our international news editor, and Dr. Sithembile Mbete, senior lecturer of the Department of Political Science at the University of Pretoria.
Yeah. Sophie, let's pick up with that Donald Trump clip that we ended off the last panel with. Just in terms of what he had to say, very bullish at the moment, Donald Trump. The numbers, one could say, bears it out, but we also can't ignore the fact that at the moment there's only 20 Electoral College votes between them. So it's certainly narrowed that lead for Trump. He's on 230 still. Kamala Harris is on 2010. And of course there are concerns there, but we'll come to that. But let's just pick up on Trump feeling pretty buoyed at the moment, I'd say.
Yes, he was. He went further to say that this is the last time he's contesting the highest office in the land. And he is not going to make a comeback if he does win or he doesn't win. For me, when he almost said, I'm not going to challenge the results, almost, because when I listened to him, he was actually saying that I will accept the results. Then I became suspicious that perhaps he knows something. And I think when you look at the numbers, he was confident that he is going to do well. Whether he will win, it's another issue. But I think at that moment, based on, you know, the advisors, the researchers, as he pointed out, that one thing that he was able to do was to rally the conservatives and those people who are worried about the economy, who are worried about the security, who are also worried about democracy. So I don't know democracy which brings us to the role of Elon Musk.
But before we get to Elon Musk, it is important for Trump, given what happened on the 6th of January 2021, very important for him to have made that statement that he will accept the result. So let's pick it up there, Dr. Mbete, and just talk to how this race has now narrowed and is starting to mirror what we've seen in the polls leading up to the election.
Certainly. And so the statement that he will accept the result is an important one. The big question is, will his supporters accept the result? And what pressure will be on him because from his support base, and we know that Trump is amazing, plays the gallery, he's very much somebody that tends to reflect his support base. And so the extent to which that sentiment continues as we go on, I think is going to be really important. And as you say, the gap is narrowed. There's 20 Electoral College votes between them. And when you look at the outstanding states that we don't have yet, so Georgia, it looks like there's about 94% of those results that are in.
In fact, Georgia's just been called
for Trump.
And it's Trump.
Okay,
it's
so
Trump.
Georgia, that's then clear, that is going to Trump. But then when you look at Pennsylvania, they're at about an almost 90% count. I'm sure, you know, hopefully that it looks like we may get that result in earlier than we would have thought. But then when you look at somewhere like Arizona, which has 11 Electoral College votes, Michigan, which seems to be leaning towards Trump's side, but they're only at 60% of the count. In Michigan, there's only 50% of the count that's happened in Arizona, and no results have yet come in from Nevada. And so that is 32 Electoral College votes that are still very much in play.
Yeah.
And
so as it's looking now, I mean, it's a big one. Trump's sitting at 246 at the moment.
At the moment.
And Harris is at 210. I'm taking information from the New York Times. The
Yes.
New York Times are being exceptionally bold in their predictions.
Yeah.
So they have already come forward and said, and I think you'll find
90%
this
chance,
exception.
yeah. What they
Much
say now.
more. They have just increased it to a 95% chance that Trump's going to take this. They have now, and you know what predictions are like, because we do this at home as well.
Exactly.
With our predictions. They're saying for an Electoral College estimate, again, please viewers, this is predictions, they're saying Trump 306 and Harris 232. I mean, that is what they're predicting at this point in time.
And that's important because we need to know whether those are actuals or whether those are predictions.
Predictions. And they are
that
blatant
distinction
in
is
saying
absolutely
these are
important
predictions.
because
It's a big thing.
we still know that in those states and the Rust Belt in particular, it's going to come down to the very last minute.
Yes.
Because Kamala's strongholds in those states are the ones that are still outstanding.
Yes. And so it is these 5 states that we're looking at, but particularly the Rust Belt ones, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. And those are the ones that are going to decide this election race. And we knew that before. It looked earlier today that there would be more, that they were decided already, but it's very clear that as those come in and as each county's results come in, that is really can come to the wire. I just want to point out 2 things, though, that are very interesting here and that are, I think, negative for Harris in this case. The first one is that throughout the count, Trump has had a much higher popular vote than Harris has had. So this is a flip to what we saw in 2016, where Clinton won the popular vote, even though she lost the Electoral College. Here, the popular vote is with Trump. And so his winning the Electoral College will, just confirm that, right? It'll track. And the worst case, I think, for Harris would be to somehow get over the line with Electoral College votes without winning the popular vote, because then that's not a victory that will be accepted, certainly, by Trump voters. The second thing I think that is very negative for Harris is that in certain states where it was considered obvious that she would be able to get through, it's been much harder than what was anticipated. And so, on the balance of things at this stage, I think it is going to go to
It's a tough
Trump.
night for her. But, I mean, Sophie, let me bring you in because we have been seeing a lot of announcements that have been happening behind the scenes as well. And one of the announcements is that Kamala Harris is not going to speak tonight. However, Trump seems to be heading to Mar-a-Lago to the party and the gathering there.
Maybe we can bring the visuals in terms of people who have gathered and who are waiting for
at the
Trump.
Republican Trump.
Let's check
a
that
jovial
feed
feeling.
there. There's a live feed right now on Reuters where you have these people who are very, very happy, perhaps in a white short, so that our viewers can see. Those are the people who are waiting for Donald Trump. But a few minutes ago, just before we came here, there was an announcement to Kamala's supporters that they must disperse because she is not going to come out and she is not going to address the crowds. And she will only do that tomorrow. Of course, because of the time difference, it's today for us. So it will be interesting to see what's going to happen. And perhaps, I don't know, I can't see why a person would pull out. You invited people to a watch party and then you are not going to show up. When that happens, it's when somebody is beginning to accept the reality. I was in the United States of America, in New York. There were lots and lots of watch parties, including a very exclusive one for few high-profile women in the world who were going to be with Hillary Clinton, but they had to call that off, and she didn't pitch at her own party either. And Uncle Trump and the Trump Tower packed to the
capacity. So it's a song that we've seen being sung before, but again, it's something we've got to be very careful of, because these are still, we keep emphasizing there's still a lot of votes coming through, results being called. The predictions from the New York Times are one thing, but the reality is that this could take a few days.
Yeah, but the reality is also that it is starting to look ominous for Kamala Harris, because even in those Rust Belt states, what's happening is that Trump is in the lead.
Yes.
So she has that lead to overturn, and that's not going to be easy. I see Nevada has started counting, but it becomes inconsequential. Nevada at this point is more of one that Trump would factor into his equation in terms of getting to 270 with 6 Electoral College seats, not going to do Harris too great a favor. She needs the big ones to come in for her.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And I think, for us as South Africans watching now, besides the presidential race, we know that Senate has now, it's been confirmed. The Republicans have taken Senate with 51 of the Senate seats, and given the importance of Senate's role in U.S. foreign policy making, regardless of who is the president, I think that having a Republican Senate is going to place South Africa in a very difficult position as far as foreign policy goes, and is going to be consequential for Ukraine, for Israel, but also
Russia,
for the global economy.
The relations with Russia.
I think we need to pause, because these are important aspects. We've got to get to the news, but please keep that train of thought. I think we need to delve into these international relations.
Indeed.
Sakina.